Hey, good morning,
Morning.
everyone,
Well,
or good
guys,
day, good
Yes,
afternoon.
good day. That's right.
Yeah, because here we have Glenn,
That's it. Hello.
and 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 that's a first. It's a first, and it's a joy to have you on, Glenn. And it's a first for the temporary podcast because now there's three people. Wow! And what's really cool about this, I think, Glenn, is that we don't know each other, not really. We just connected because we resonate or we find like-minded interests, and so you reached out, and I just love that. That's the new
hmm
world, possibilities and connections. So maybe, Glenn, do you want to say something about who you are or where you are? Just a few words.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm from Australia, the other part of the world, and my background is I was sort of doing Agile for a couple of years at my last job, and then in the last 3 months or so, I've moved into sort of run my own business called the EAView, creating sort of content around electronic engineering from sort of the practical insights I've learnt. And just seeing your guys' content definitely resonate with the ideas you kind of have around how modern ways of working could or should be. And so that's naturally why I reached out to Magnus and Serge. We've also contacted each other a bit, and keen to join you guys and see what we can discover together.
Mm.
glad to hear. I'm really happy that you're here, Glenn. I know we talked about connecting, and
Yeah,
we sent some messages back and forth on LinkedIn, and then now, thanks to modern technology, we're in the same room basically. So that's really nice.
that's it.
Okay. So yeah, how we work is we choose a topic, and then we work around that and see where it takes us. So what do we have in our mind today? Or Glenn, what do you have in mind today?
Yeah, so a topic I was thinking about is how, with the way things are going, more people are becoming connected. Like we were saying before, we're able to reach out now with video technology and the like. I see there's more and more of maybe one or two people, businesses moving forward that maybe create content, publish it to the world. And it's just interesting to think about how Agile can sort of be applied to these very small businesses as they kind of grow and ramp up. That's what I'm
Mm.
thinking today, exploring that topic as I see it becoming more and more applicable over time.
Oh, yeah, great, great, great. So there's the empirical thinking. You have to build hypotheses and try stuff out and reflect. There's the you talked upon this new world of digitalization and possibility to network. The agile principle. Just gather people around the project and give them the resources and tool how to work at it. That's in the agile manifesto. Well, not verbatim, but kind of. There's principle, and there's much more. How to do a startup.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
Yeah, I want to add to this because if we talk about an agile organization as in being able to quickly adapt to changing circumstances, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think most startups, if not all startups, are really good at that. They, because they are small, often one or two people
Hmm.
kind of or group organization or whatever you want to call it. It's easy to adapt to changing circumstances because it's just you, right? It's like, okay, we need to change direction. I turn and I go that way. So, but as we grow, as organizations grow, as our business grows, as we want to find out new things, how do we
Hmm.
remain agile? How do we keep that being able to adapt to changing circumstances? And I think there's space there to explore there as well. Um, so yeah,
Yeah. You know what, guys? I want to bring in a perspective here. So agile is not something, just dance with it. It's actually also very scientific. And so many people do startups and they succeed because they just have that grit, the passion, the drive, and they just work relentlessly. And I think that maybe here we are proposing our offering and say that maybe you want to bring in a bit of science as well. Science meaning you might build an hypothesis, you might have a structure such that you look upon what you've done and you evaluate it. You start with like a sprint, maybe metaphorically at least, and you say, I have an hypothesis. This is what I want to try, and I think this will happen. And then you have a structure such that you also evaluate. Now, so that's happening. That's not at all what I thought was happening. That's interesting. What can I learn? Is that something you're doing? I see you're nodding, Glenn.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, with my own personal business, what I've sort of tried working on is just creating free blog content for people, and then based on the feedback I'm getting from that, I can easily pivot to where, my paid content or full courses should go. That's just an example. But then what I've also realized is, it's not just, I guess, the one form of content you do, but if you try experimenting with other forms, maybe a short video, then that can engage with other people in different ways as well. So it's not just a matter of sticking with the one media and then adding variations on that. It's sometimes you can kind of shift your thinking completely and try, okay, maybe I can use a different form of media to engage that way.
I think what you say, Glenn, I really like this. Let's try out and see what happens, because this is really what empiricism is, right? We don't know, so let's try and then gather the data, and then it becomes scientific. Yeah? We make an hypothesis. We think, okay, maybe I get more engagement from a video, and then we try it out and see what the result is. And I think this applies to anything you want to try out. If I look at myself about 6 years ago, I thought that the ideas that I have around continual improvement and everything around that would really work well in small, medium businesses. So I really focused on getting into small and medium businesses. I went networking. I dedicated my website to it, and after about 3 to 6 months, somewhere in between, I realized that it's costing me a lot of energy. That small and medium businesses are now really waiting for it. Well, they want to improve, but there's no time and space for that, and they didn't want to invest in it because they only see the cost and not the long-term benefits. Kind of, I'm kind of making it very black and white, but that's the impression I got. And at a certain point, I felt I'm putting so much energy into this and not getting anything out. So I went back to being a consultant in larger organizations where I did get a lot of energy from my work. And that was my, I didn't write down an hypothesis or something. Well, in my head, my hypothesis was this will really work in small, medium businesses. And it didn't. And some might say I'm not a good salesperson, but I don't think that it's there. It's not where my passion was. It's not where my energy was. I tried it and I learned a lot. I met some really nice people with whom I'm still in contact. I'm still connected with them today, but not in a business way. And that's that. And I think that especially when you're starting, daring to explore that space and also be wrong, daring to be wrong.
Wow.
Say, okay, not working and give it up and just continue in the other way. It's nice.
Yeah. I mean, when you start a business, how to earn money, for instance, how to get clients, big topics on your mind, and then this hypothesis, and certainly if you have obligations, you would be nervous. There's one thing to be employed in a large corporation, you have the safety net, right? There's a structure, and the downside might be that it might not be running the way you see it. You might not find yourself in that place of being able to fully self-express. I'm guessing, Glenn, that you kind of find that this context is not I hit the ceiling. But then how to deal with these emotions, because as you venture out, it's a big move and you need to dare. And is there something in Agile that possibly supports you in dealing with this risk?
I think it's more, I guess, using it to make sure that you are trying things and then constantly measuring what you're doing. That's the important thing, because it's so easy, or at least I found for myself, to just get into that rut where you'll sort of keep trying a similar thing and think it may work, but actually having that mechanism built in that forces you to periodically or every so often inspect ensures you don't stray down that path, if you will.
Yeah. Okay, so now this comes to me. There's a person. This person has a lot of grit and determination. In fact, this person is even what we might call stubborn. You see these persons. You might be that person yourself sometimes. You just do this. This is my focus.
Tunnel vision.
And tunnel vision. And I love that passion and that strength. But here's the thing. We're saying in Agile that it might be better if you have that. But then you pause.
Exactly.
And you're ready to re-examine your deep-held core beliefs of what's going on. And now you're saying, I want to learn. I want to adapt. Even if it's radically different, I want to find new ways to make it come true.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're guaranteed to have disappointments, and so many people drop off. Those early disappointments will be, then you say to yourself, oh, the doubt I have about this being a good thing, yeah, there's the proof. I'm not worthy. I cannot do this. And I would encourage anyone listening, that's not exactly how you could view it. It might possibly be that this is a natural thing. You need to be in it for the long term, and Agile might help you. You're nodding, Serge? Even Glenn, am I on to something?
This resonates so much. I'm drawn to this idea of, well, there's people with passion and grit, and they're going for it, and then they make it, right? They are successful. But were they successful because of that, or were they? Because some people are successful just by sheer luck. And I think, but it's the case.
It can even be timing. Yeah.
So
the right
luck or timing or being in the right space in the right time, which I would categorize in maybe even as luck as well, in a certain way. Like at that point, at that time, all the puzzle pieces fitted. And then we still attribute that success to our grit and our passion and whatever. And there are even people, I guess there are even people that write books about this is how I started my business and look how successful I am. Well, maybe they've just been lucky. And I'm kind of making this very black and white to make the counter connection or the connection with what Magnus says about that scientific approach, pushing that pause button and retrospecting. I'm going to use the word retrospecting, looking back on what happened. What was it? Luck? What is the data saying? And do I see patterns? And how are those patterns evolving? I think that's the big thing. And now where my thought goes, to become an organization that is able to adapt to changing circumstances or create those circumstances ourselves, I think it requires a lot of grit as well to do that. I lost the word in English, but it'll come back to me. The discipline, to have the discipline to do that, to have the discipline to pause for a moment and reflect. So don't be caught up constantly in the fire of the day or the mental fire that we have in our head. So that to create that agility, I think the reflection moment, the scientific approach, the watching the data, the pausing, the retrospection, creating that muscle memory early on, even when you're a one-man organization, I think there's a key element there to build on for the future.
I think so, and it also prevents you from, going down a certain path for so long and basically burning time and energy, money as well, right?
Money as well, yeah. How do you guys see? Why we actually, Glenn? Let me do this instead. Why did you go down this route? What was so important to you that you decided I have to?
It's an interesting question. I think for me, really, I really enjoyed teaching people, and I thought, that was kind of one gift I had to give to the world, so to speak. And so, I thought I would try this, creating a business, creating online content, and then at the same time engaging people and seeing where things go. But not just creating content, but also acting as a contractor as well, because as you said, Serge, when you did that yourself, you learned things that you didn't think of before you were sort of engaging with other people in the industry, right? So I see kind of having both of those mechanisms, they kind of help each other, and also give you more dynamics, I guess, in life. You get to kind of pursue your own passion, which for me is, building this content that hopefully can serve many people, but at the same time, working with businesses to help them and learn as well. Like I just enjoy those two aspects, and I find this is the way to achieve that.
Ooh, learning,
Yes.
developing the learning. We love that. I think you will never be done learning.
No.
I was trying. I want to probe into that. Just try. So, is it so? Would you say that you find that parts of your drive is that you have a future vision? In 5 years, I see this want to happen, or are you more closely connected to the now, the present moment?
I'd say more often than not connected to the present moment, but then through seeing where things are going, you can kind of see where the future may be, creating more of a community. I see that's where a lot of these businesses I talked about going, is having their own communities that thrive. I mean, it's like what you guys are doing, right, with the Temporary podcast. You're in effect creating communities around what you're doing, which resonates with other people, and then it keeps expanding.
Great, because I would need to confess, I didn't understand that. I used to have this idea, there's more. And sometimes I could get really energized by certain ideas or visions. And typically, they were a bit in the future. If only this and that, this is what I see as a possibility. And then there's this possibility that that's not the present moment. So I did some dabbling and visioning, and kind of recently, I realized that vision really means how to see possibility in the present moment. And I just, bravo, Glenn, because you find the energy in the present moment also. So you have this bit of, this is where I want to go, but this is where I'm now. And to practice to see possibility in the heat of the moment, that's something deep into Agile, I think. I don't know if you guys agree. There's an interesting tensioning between having a future vision and having the energy, the possibility here and now.
I think there definitely is a tension there, because you might find in the opportunities you're given in the present, they may sometimes conflict where you thought the vision could be, but that's where you kind of have to adapt and think, well, hang on, maybe these opportunities that are coming to me now are a better way to go. And that again kind of comes back to this Agile, that you shouldn't be locked into where it could be. You've got to continuously think about, given what I know now, the current inputs I have, would it be better to go down this path rather than where you thought the future may be? Because again, that's sort of static thinking, right? Thinking that, the future will be this, but it'll constantly change based on the environment you're in. Which again kind of nicely comes back to Agile and systems thinking.
I'm so happy to hear you say this, both, because this is exactly what I'm thinking. I don't need to repeat anything, because this is exactly what it is. This is complexity. We don't know. Things change. There are so many forces at play. Some we know, some we don't know, and we pick a direction, and I see maybe that's the vision. A loosely chosen direction, an idea of the future, but we don't cling to it too much because we don't know. And we just move in that direction. And maybe we'll end up somewhere there, and maybe we'll end up completely in a different space. But that's not a bad thing. I think it's even a good thing. that never ending. No, it's a never ending journey. And
exactly.
My invitation to everyone is to embrace that journey. And the ups and downs that come with it, of course.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
And that kind of comes back to the constantly inspecting, because you may be going down this different path, and then you think, this definitely is the better path for me. So you're still continuously inspecting on wherever these paths are leading you, which again, there's benefits to that.
I love this. And there's so much more. We might actually now, though, be finding ourselves in a little bit of a wrap. This is 20 minutes, give or take. We've tried to make this episode 20 minutes. Is it so that we are maybe like, there's so much to talk about, but still, though, in keeping 20 minutes, is there a closing that is possible to formulate for you guys? as we leave this episode. I personally find myself energized by the like-minded people that are very insightful up here, but I also feel like the passion and the heart. I love that.
To go there, what I've seen happening, that's my personal checkout to this talk. What I've seen happening is that three people hardly know each other. They met on LinkedIn. Yeah, they come together, they choose a topic, and they naturally have a really nice, interesting conversation. Well, at least to me it is, about a topic, and it just flows. There was no planning, preparation, whatever, right? Glenn joined us in our studio. We introduced ourselves for 3 minutes, and we clicked record, and here we are. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And this also wraps our content, because we inspected and adapted. We tried, and it happened, and here we are.
Exactly. Yeah, I echo the same thoughts. It's been awesome chatting with you guys. And yeah, I think it's just a good thing to keep in mind from this is that, you know, you may have a set vision in a certain direction, but it can change depending on possibilities like this. We just decided to have this chat, and now look, we're here on an episode. So it's always good to be open-minded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So thanks anyone that viewed this to the end. Take with you that things are really possible. And if you think that whatever you've seen on this screen is not for you, think differently, because just 4 months ago, this was not for me. Now it's possible. And I'm deeply grateful. It is really possible, and humans can collaborate. And so there you have it. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for playing. I will now hit the stop button. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.